What's up, everybody? This is EZT. I was going to give kind of a quick brief video tutorial on how to use my brand new APC40 template version 2.0, which will be set to be released as soon as this video is done and posted, so that way you guys know what the hell's going on and how to use it. Cool. This is my little studio. Alright, that's all you kind of need to know about that. Pretty straightforward. Sorry I'm holding a video camera. I don't really have another good way to shoot this, so that way you guys can kind of get the full visual. Alright, obviously the first thing you're going to want to do, open Ableton. Pretty cool. Here's what, alright, got it right here, the APC40. Cool. This is kind of, when you first turn it on, how it's going to look. I have my APC40 chilling right here. Shout out to the Tall T homies. That's what's up. So yeah, my template is all set up, so it's all visual feedback. This guy right here controls deck B. This is deck A. You know, volume faders, tempo. I'll show you kind of how it all works when we dig into it. First things first though, you need to make sure that you are set up right to take the APC40 so that it works with this template. I think these are pretty general settings, but I know I'm going to get asked about this if I don't put this in there. So make sure you have the APC40 set for the control surface, the input, and for me the output. So for the APC40, track and remote on for both. For the output on, and those settings should allow you to fully control Ableton with it, as well as receive light up feedback based on the buttons you're hitting, which is always a big plus, especially in dark nightclubs, grungy house parties, your dirty basement in your parents' bedroom, wherever you are DJing at. Alright, let's get into the meat of this. To really kind of understand this template, you need to understand the way that I designed this. So this is a lot of the ideas around how I put this template together came from a guy named Il Gates, who has awesome templates up for purchase. They're very, very well put together. But the biggest thing that I took from his process is the way that he puts together his clip packs. Coming from a Serato and CDJ vinyl background is essentially how I learned how to DJ. This concept turns Ableton into a kind of a more of a DJ friendly approach to DJing with Ableton. Let's grab one of my latest mashup tracks with my homie Spencer Flower. We are Stereo Force, be looking out for releases in the future. So basically what I do is I bring in a track, I warp it, bring out different parts of it, and then I basically put different cue points. So this track will start, I could start at the beginning here. Typical volume fader. Cool. So essentially what this is broken down to is different cue points. So cool. So you guys get the picture on that. If you want to save these, so once you break down a track and warp it out, you can shift select the whole thing. You drag it over here, and it will basically, you can create a new file, save it, name it whatever you want. You'll notice in mine here, 7B is the key. I use a system called Mixed In Key, which is a great program, and it's super cheap. I think it's less than 50 bucks. Then next I got the BPM, it's 128, name of the track, throw in who it's by, Stereo Force, make sure to check us out. you know, and some of the different names for the different drops. So that's essentially how it works. When I want to drop in tracks, I know, you know, based on the mixing key system, any track in 7A will work with any track in 7B. So I can bring this over, and now I've got my next track ready to go. So that's the basis on how this kind of drag and drop CDJ system works. Next, let's get into the meat of where I really wanted to step up this platform and this template to be something that I've never seen in platform, something that based on different mixers that you use, you have these things around. I believe it's the Pioneer DJM 900. You can add white noise, which I think is a great feature. So I figured I can do that with Ableton pretty straightforward, and you know what I can do that's even cooler than that is I can sidechain it on beat, which takes that white noise concept to the next level. So this one channel is called White Pump. It is basically a sidechained white noise loop to a kick drum. It's grouped together, so the kicks are all here. These red ones are all the exact same pattern as this kick. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. You guys can use this to make different kick patterns to sidechain to. You can, you know, maybe you could, instead of having a, you know, sidechain compression, you could put a sidechain gate to really get the transform effect that you see a lot on like the Pioneer mixers. So you can sidechain it and mess around with that. If you don't know how to do that, I'm sure you could YouTube it. I don't really want to try to explain how to sidechain gates. So that's this channel. So I'll kind of give you an example. So it's playing now. It's completely controlled by volume though, so I can bring it up. So I'm not sure how good this audio is going to be, but it is sidechained on beat. So that is a cool thing to be able to toss over kind of breakdowns, or you know, if you're feeling like the drop is lacking some of those mids and highs, or you really just want to give the mix something extra. There you go. Now you got some white noise pumping. So that's something cool. Next channel we got claps. So essentially what this is this is just a clap sample that I really like, in just different speeds. So the top speed is a typical 4x4. Cool, straightforward. Next one's twice as fast. Next one's twice as fast. Cool. So that is something that's useful for builds if you again want to add that extra element. Let's say maybe you feel like a breakdown is lacking some of that drum steadiness. That's a great way to add some of that in there. Another thing that I did add to that I want to show you too, is this last clap pattern is my own twist I put on a clap build. It is basically inspired by the Moombahton basic drum pattern, which is, you know, something on the fourth beat and the seventh beat of every 2 bars. And if that doesn't make sense, sorry, but this is what it sounds like. It's basically the same pattern, just with a little bit more of a swing to it, I guess. So works well with almost any genre, and it's just, you know, a nice way to change up and put some claps over whatever's going on. Next is a sidechain kick. This guy, I know for me, in the little bit of time that I've been messing with this template, I always have it on the top one ready to go. So if you open this up, you'll see what this is. So it's essentially this kick drum going at a beat all the time. So this plays the entire set. If you ever feel like adding volume, I set it up so you can bring this up and you can lay a kick drum over any track in the same way that you'd want to maybe layer white noise or claps on top of. But the real magic of this guy is the fact that it's just playing in the background, which allows you to sidechain all sorts of effects to really get you can make some really elaborate effects with it. And really one of the effects specifically that I have built into this package is kind of like a pumping sort of feel, like the old-fashioned electro house pump, and I will kind of show you how that works in a minute. Next we've got a section that I wanted to put in because I don't think anybody else does it like this. So if you see right up here, the master, it says BPM selector. Those are blank MIDI clips. So those don't actually do anything. I have those there just so that it's easy to look at. And you can say, okay, that's the, that's 128, that's 140, that's 175, this is 108. The last one is a multi-use one that you can use for whatever you want. So this bad boy is essentially mapped to these scene launch buttons right here. So this one, coincides with it. So this is the 128, the top, 140, 175, 108, and the multi-use button. So if you are not familiar with how to program that in Ableton, essentially what this does is if I hit this guy, 140, as soon as I hit that, it automatically jumps the BPM whenever it's touched. So I can't really, you won't be able to see it because it's too zoomed out, but yeah, when you do fire this clip, all of a sudden now whatever your BPM was at is now at 128. Whatever your BPM was at is now at 140, which is really useful if you're trying to do a lot of multi-genre in your set. If you're frustrated with your transitions and having to use a dial or a knob, I wanted to make a way so you could just jump straight there. I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, that's cheating, that's not DJing. Well, go fuck yourself. Here is the master tempo is on this Q level. So if you do want to do it and feel cool, you can slowly nudge it, which you should be doing anyways to really get to the exact value, the exact BPM of every track you're playing. But that is a feature that I just wanted to add in for everybody. I don't know if anybody out there is really trying to be a multi-genre DJ who jumps all the time or who wants to have that ability to on beat jump from 130 to 140 without having to touch any sort of pitch. It's something Ableton allows you to do, so I figured why not. So that is also inside of it. Cool. Next, the last little thing that you need to see here is the counter. So this actually doesn't do much. It's just a light up scene that triggers and keeps track. It's a 4-bar light sequence. So essentially you fire that, the first scene, with button number 5 here. So okay, it's going. Cool, so that's kind of going on beat. So it's kind of a visual way to keep track of where you're at based on bars. So every 4 bars it goes back to the beginning, so boom, that's the beginning. 2, 3, 4. Cool. So that's a visual feedback sort of way to keep track of what's going on. I think it's fairly useful. It really is going to help keep your eyes off of the screen, especially if you're very kind of visually oriented about watching your beats progress. I know I am kind of that way and I've started to grow out of it, but for a long time I was very into my computer screen while I was DJing. And this way it really kind of takes your eyes off the screen and into your controller. So those are kind of the breakdowns of the channels. I will play a track and kind of show you some of the effects that I have lined up for this, give you a brief rundown of what kind of things you can do with it, and yeah, let's check it out. So yeah, that was an example of jumping from 140 to 128 in the push of a button. Kind of cool, nobody else does that. You'll notice I have the volume set on all the channels. You can change this, but I've found that these volume presets will pretty much keep you in the green no matter what, which is a big deal, especially when you're DJing with a like a DAW, because when you get into the red, it's a lot worse than even being in the red and being above 0 dB in just a regular DJ setting. It's even worse through like an audio interface like Ableton. So cool, let's show you some effects. Alright, cool, so this is the effects chain that's set up. Start at the beginning. So we got blend. This is a idea actually from Il Gates. I kind of took it a little bit of a different way than he took it. He's got it mapped to his volume, but I wanted to be able to use it as just an effect, which is basically, this is the basics of DJing. When you bring in a track, you kind of introduce the mids and bring up the highs and the lows. Pretty basic concept. That is now mapped to one dial. So when it's all the way up, your track is dry, just the mids. I'll show you all the stuff through these buttons. So that's this guy right here. Cool. This is your traditional EQ, your 3-band EQs. This is your lows, your mids, your highs. Straightforward there. This guy is actually the effect that I was talking about earlier. This is the pump effect, which is really good for house builds, anything like that, that you just want that pumping feel. So it's basically a sidechain compressor with a little bit of a high pass build that is routed to the kick drum earlier that I was showing you. So this, I don't know how clear that's going to be, but when you turn this up, it basically kicks on a compressor that's sidechained, so you're going to get a real good pumping feel. You can turn this effect on and off here, or with this dial. Kind of cool. This is a high pass filter, but I wanted to put a twist on it, so I added a slight redux that builds with it. Again, kind of a little bit more than just the usual high pass filter. It's kind of a nice little twist on it. This is your low pass. Everybody knows what a low pass sweep is. Very simple. I didn't want to put too much on it. Low pass filters, I think, are really useful. And this is actually a preset that I really like in Ableton called Fade to Gray. What that does is it cuts the audio essentially and turns it just into a reverb signal. Bring it back. All these effects can be turned on and off with these buttons below them. All visual feedback, so when they're on, they're going to be lit up, which is sweet. Same thing on these guys. This is the exact same layout just for deck B. And down here is my beat repeat setup. So this guy is, I believe, half notes. Yeah, something like that. Maybe it's eighth notes. I'm not exactly sure, but it's at this speed. Yeah, next one is twice as fast. Next one is twice as fast. This guy is named after my buddy Spencer, and I call this button the Flower Power because after DJing with him for a long time, I've started to pick up and understand his pattern he uses on his beat repeats on the Pioneer, just plain old Pioneer mixers, I think the 800. He's got a little bit of a swing to his, and so that's what this is based off of. This is when this triggers, it triggers on the third and not on the bar. So it's got a little bit of swing to the beat repeat, which is kind of useful for different types of music and not just house. So that's kind of the beat repeat setup. The crossfader doesn't do anything, which is awesome because I don't DJ with the crossfader. I DJ with volumes. Again, if you want to talk about that DJing style, you can shove it. I don't really care. That is, I guess, it in a nutshell. I mean, everything you need to know is basically these knobs control all your effects. You've got your basic DJ EQing on the top level. You know, you got your beat repeats here. You've got different things that you can cue and play all the time. So, you know, bring up some white noise right here. Bring up some claps. So there you go. That's kind of it in a nutshell. I will be putting this tutorial up hopefully this evening or tomorrow, which doesn't mean anything to you guys, but the release will be out soon. I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on this template, play with it, tweak it, tell me what works, tell me what doesn't work. that's it, man. Thank you guys very much. Peace.